What's up, everybody? J-Heat SportsMedia coming at y'all again with that fire as always. Spitting these hot topics and getting the sports conversation started. Y'all know what I'm talking about: football, basketball, and boxing. Here in Bangkok, Thailand, thinking about basketball right now. It's been some serious hooping going on in the association. Want to talk about league MVP. We have one of the craziest, most competitive MVP races on our hands in recent memory. Let's talk about it. So league MVP in the NBA is very competitive this season. A lot of times at this point in the season, we probably would have narrowed the MVP race down to 3 guys, maybe 4 at best in a real competitive year. A lot of times we might even be narrowing it down to the last 2 as we go into January and be looking at it from there. But right now, we're talking about 5 to 6 legitimate MVP candidates. And the 4 or 5 guys that don't win could have probably been league MVPs in other years. Let's talk about these guys who are all vying for the MVP spot. Starting with the Greek freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's got his Bucks competing for the best record in the NBA. They only a few games off the pace of the league leading Boston Celtics. Giannis is doing Giannis things, getting you 30 plus points a night, close to 12 rebounds, 5 assists, playing D, leading his guys with Chris Middleton in and out the lineup again. The Bucks still look like a team that if they get Chris Middleton back, they're going to compete for a championship. They're in that hunt and should be one of the favorites. Giannis is just doing his thing, and again, is MVP status Giannis. Also, staying in the Eastern Conference, you've got Joel Embiid, the guy that got looked over the last couple years, especially last year. A lot of people thought maybe he should have got that league MVP instead of the Joker. Well, he's back with a vengeance, and he feels that way too. Leading the league in scoring right now at almost 34 points a game, getting you around 10 boards, 4 dimes, playing D like he always does, and being the solid anchor of the Philadelphia 76ers. He's kept them in the top 5 in the East, even with guys like James Harden and Maxey out the lineup, in and out the lineup. Now Harden is starting to come back and doing his thing, leading the league in assists, but Embiid is that anchor on that team, and he's kept them afloat. And even though they came out a little rocky to start the season, he's steadied the ship and has them moving in the right direction, looking like a league MVP. Some might say like Giannis Antetokounmpo competing for who do you think is the best player in the NBA currently. That being said, the other guy competing for that is the one who is actually the reigning, defending, 2-time defending league MVP in the Joker, who's not leading the league in scoring. He's only getting you a mid 25, 26 a game, but at the center position, he's flirting with a triple-double average, getting you 10 boards a game. 10 boards a game, 9 assists. So he's getting you close to 10 and 10 with his 26 points a game, shooting 60% from the field, very efficient, 80% from free throw. The Joker is that dude still. And with his guys back in the lineup now, getting his point guard back, getting his lineup more healthy, they are competing for the best record in the Western Conference. So you got some guys over there with just those 3 people alone that are serious contenders. And let's not leave out Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum, who off of having a little bit of a disappointing performance in the finals in some people's eyes, has come back like he thought he was disappointing as well, and has stepped up, getting 31 a night, 8 boards, 4 assists. More importantly, leading the Celtics to the best record in the league, even with his coach, who a lot of people thought looked like the best coach in basketball last year. With the controversy with him going out of the lineup, not being able to coach, having to take another guy that was the assistant off the bench who stepped up and looked really well and really good, I should say, in his role. Regardless, Tatum's been the consistent leader. They look like they on a march back to the finals, and he's looking like a guy who's gone from breaking into the top 10 best players in the league to looking like a top 5 type of guy. And that's just 4 of the guys competing for league MVP. All right, and the final 2 guys I want to touch on, one of which he's legitimately in this race in Luka Doncic. The only knock on Luka, and let's just address the elephant in the room, his team isn't winning as much as some of these other guys. The Dallas Mavericks just aren't a championship team, even though when you watch Luka play, the way he put on this historic performance the other night, 60, 20, and 10, followed it up with 35 and I think 15 and 12 just last night. This dude is the truth. And he carried them to the Western Conference Finals in a tough Western Conference that has only gotten tougher. Luka needs help, that's the bottom line. And when you watch him play, he gives you LeBron James vibes of him carrying the Cavs in the East. He looks like the type of player with more of an effort being given on the defensive end now as well, and him becoming even more efficient with his game. He looks like a guy who's in that conversation for the best player in the league at a young age. Guy's only around 23, I believe. Ridiculous. His team's record may hurt him in this MVP conversation, but when you watch this guy play, he looks like arguably the best player in the league, definitely an MVP candidate. And then we got a guy that a lot of people have forgot about, kind of written off a little bit, Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, whose team went through a lot of turmoil over the summer, some of which he brought upon the team in terms of media attention with him demanding his trade. He's turned this thing around, kind of like when Kobe demanded a trade, ended up staying in LA, and then righted the ship. Kevin Durant has been a steady force for the Brooklyn Nets. And as the team's gotten healthier and more consistent with guys playing, as Ben Simmons has been able to get a little more acclimated with being back to playing basketball, the steady force has been Kevin Durant. Getting you close to 30 a game, 7 boards, 5 assists, flirting with 50, 40, 90 for his shooting percentages, 56 from the field. The best mid-range shooter by the numbers in the league today, and looking like one of the best mid-range performances of NBA history when you look at his numbers in shooting jumpers from the mid-range. He's having maybe his best defensive year of his career, helping to anchor the defense of the Brooklyn Nets, which has improved under Jacques Vaughn. He's in the league leaders in blocks, right there with his man Claxton. Clean cut Claxton, as I like to call him, because he looked different ever since he shaved his head and got that clean cut. Not to say that's the only reason, just wanted to point that out. He's hooping and doing his thing, but Kevin Durant is leading the squad and has taken the Brooklyn Nets from a team that started rocky with all the controversy to a steady force, especially once they got their coaching situation under control. And now they are number 2 in the East and right there in position 2 games back from the best record in the NBA on a 10-game winning streak. That's 6 guys I mentioned. And there's still an honorable mention with the New Orleans Pelicans because Zion Williamson is back. He looks like an all-star, shooting 60% from the field like he does. He's getting you 7 boards, 4 dimes, almost 5 dimes a game. And more importantly, he's battling for the best record in the Western Conference with his team, even with Brandon Ingram being out. So that's really 7. But at least 6 real solid candidates, and everybody I mentioned before Zion. And maybe Zion will throw himself even more in this mix as we move forward. My question is, who do y'all think is the leader in this race? And who would be y'all top 3 or 4 out of these names I've mentioned? And did I miss anybody? Holla at you. All right, that's all the time I got. Y'all know what it is, and you know what you're looking for. J Heat Sports Media. Remember to like, subscribe, or hit the bell. Get at me in the comments. Let's go back and forth on YouTube. You know I'm on Instagram as well, at TheVaultJMU414 on Twitter. And of course, what's up, TikTok? Holla at y'all next time.